All right, now we're going to talk about the startup procedure for the cart and how we get the cart operating and circulating the water. So the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to add water to our lower reservoir. You'll do this just with a simple garden hose, so you will need accessibility to water, and you'll fill just in through the top of the reservoir. Once you're filled to the appropriate fill line, this is the minimum amount of water that the cart needs to operate and not run out of water. So you'll want to always fill to the fill line. Once you've filled your cart to the fill line, you now need to bleed the pump. So we're going to bleed the pump by taking our red hose, which will be supplied with the cart, and connecting it to our red valve, or sorry, our blue valve on top of our pump. You don't need a wrench, you just use your fingers with this style of hose. You just take your hose, you'll need a bucket for this, and you'll open that blue valve. You're going to open that valve and just run until water runs out. Once water runs out of the valve, you'll then isolate, remove the hose, and now we're ready to start the pump. Now to start the pump, you simply just plug it in. So we have multiple cords here. We have a cord end for our hot water tank, we have a cord end for our pump, as well as a cord end for our HRV. It is important that we build the pressure in the system and flush everything out before we tie in the hot water tank. So let's pressurize the system. Building pressure. At this point, you're going to want to make sure that all of our valves are in a closed position so that we can build pressure. And now you're going to want to bleed all the air out of our system. So we're going to open up our taps and we're going to run it until there's no air coming out. Once we've bled all the air out, we'll isolate and shut the taps off. And at this point now that your system is bled, we're able to plug in the hot water tank. We simply just take the plug end and again plug it in. So now our pump is operational and our hot water tank is full and heating our water. Now that we've gone over the pump operations, we're going to go over some of the other operations within the cart. One function that our cart has is it has an alarm valve plumbed in so that we can operate this small fire bell on the front of the cart. You'll operate that fire bell by opening this valve. You can see that that's quite loud. That's why we have a valve on that system so you can shut it off. You also can open the sprinkler head by opening the valve on top here. And then your sprinkler head is live as well. If you run your sprinkler head in conjunction with the bell isn't as loud. We also have on our sprinkler line, we have a drain valve here. If you open this valve, it just directs the water through the system and into the lower reservoir. You can operate this drain line either by the round valve in the front or the ball valve in the back handle here. Alright, now we're going to talk about how to shut the cart down. So when we're turning off the cart at the end of the day, we're first going to unplug our electrical components to the cart. So always unplug the hot water tank first and then move on to de-energize the pump. Once our pump and hot water tank are de-energized, we're going to drain the water out. So at this point you're going to open up all the valves associated. So make sure that everything is in the open position. Once you have all the valves in the open position, You'll return to the front of the cart where we have a drain valve that has a typical garden hose connection. You'll remove the cap from the garden hose threads, you'll attach your garden hose on, you'll open the valve, and that's how you'll drain the cart. Once you've drained the water out of the lower basin here, and you can see that, it's a clear basin, so you'll see when it's all drained out, you'll want to remove the water from the pump itself. For that, you're going to open up the blue valve on the top of the pump, and then you're going to open up the red valve on the lower level of the pump. Again, we will supply a refrigeration hose so that you can control the discharge of the water and you don't make a mess. Outside of that, that's really all there is to our cart. There will be some areas where water is going to remain trapped within the cart. The hot water tank itself, there is no drain valve on the hot water tank that was supplied, so it will remain charged with water, as well as our automatic pump control has 2 check valves that lock the water within the pump control, and so this will remain locked with water. So it is important that the cart does not get left in freezing temperatures for long periods of time. We hope you enjoy the cart.